well then you join me on the second half of my sort of birthday session, birthday weekend. And I have just arrived at Tar Farm complex, so part of the linear fisheries sort of portfolio. I'm booked myself onto lake number 6, so via the Go Catch app again. I knew I could go straight from Bell's Mill and come straight here, and I've got a swim and I can fish, and I've got no worries about trying to find somewhere to fish or slotting in or just being in a dead corner of a lake somewhere. Using the Go Catch app, I managed to book a swim, swim number 5. Last time I fished here I was a couple of swims up in peg number 3. But looking on the Go Catch app this morning as well, it looks like no one is booked into either 4 or 6. So I've got pretty much like this sort of half of this bank, of half of this lake. So that's really, really nice to see. But if you're looking to get down here yourself as well, then there's always an opportunity of getting a peg on one of the many lakes that are on this complex. Now, I picked Lake 6 because I fancied trying to get myself a few bites like I did on my last video. So if you haven't seen that yet, by all means go and check out my first ever sort of visit to Tar Farm. But I really like this one. It's kind of average depth of around sort of 6 foot or so. It's about 9 acres, but it's kind of like long and thin. And there's always a chance of a bite. So I don't think the fish in this lake are the biggest out of the sort of Tar Farm complex, but like I say, it's more about getting a few bites, and that's exactly what I've come for. A few birthday bites to add on to what I already caught in my previous 48 hours at Bell's Mill. So just arrived, car's behind me, I can unload right behind me and then just pop it in the car park. That's the beauty of Tar Farm. You can park up behind your swim, unload all your stuff, and then go and drop it into one of the car parks. So really, really handy. So it's looking good. Got the wind blowing in my direction, into my face. Doesn't look like there's anyone else directly opposite me either, which is really, really nice. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this session. It's going to be a little bit different to what I've done on the Bell's Mill video. So it's going to be a bit of a, you know, casting, baiting, spotting, that sort of thing. Because yeah, it's one of those. Last time on my last session I tried solid bags, it didn't really work, and I switched up to lead clips and sort of spinner rigs and applied a bit of bait, and it kind of turned my session in my favour. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So without further ado, let's get some bits out of the car, go and stick the car in the car park, and we can crack on with the session at Tar Farm. Right, well, I've just had a really good lead around, probably best part half an hour, 45 minutes, trying to basically find a spot or 2 spots for a 2 and a 1 or all 3. And just been using my 10-foot Witchwood utility rod, which is great for marker work, great for spodding, you know, sort of medium distances. And then my spod reel, so I'm getting some really good sort of sensations when my bare lead is hitting the lake bed and running over anything on the lake bed. So yeah, it's pretty apparent. It's pretty weedy out there, a lot weedier than it was back in April when I visited here. But then again, you know, we are sort of midsummer. What I've done is basically just attached a bare lead to my braid, so there's a shock leader on there and a bare lead, and I've just been casting that around, fanning it left to right, sort of starting off afar and bringing it closer to me, trying to find the nice sort of nicest area that I can present either 3 rods or a 2 and a 1. So I managed to locate 2 spots. I've tried to find a spot that is on the same sort of clip distance, so I'm not having to re-clip if I'm wanting to bait up, you know, 2 different spots. I can keep it on the clip and just bounce between the 2 spots. So yeah, I've managed to finally look for some sort of horizon markers on the opposite bank, obvious standout markers that will allow me to fish to in night time. with ease. So when you are sort of looking for, you know, spots in weedy lakes, it's always good to try and pick obvious markers on the far bank and just, like I say, fan from left to right in your water, and just let the lead tell you what's going on down there. So I'm getting some really firm, hard drops. You can tell by the sort of coating on the lead bottom there. I like to use a sort of casting lead of that sort of shape, because I like the initial sort of hit that it gives when it reaches the lake bed. You get a good firm dropping indication through the braid and the rod tip. So it's going down really hard, and then kind of one and a half sweeps of the rod is starting to hit weed. Now it's not, you know, really thick sort of tall weed. It's only coming in about, I don't know, 10-12 inches, something like that, so I'm nothing too worried about. But I just wanted to find an area that I was getting a nice firm drop and a clean sweep, and I know that then I'm 100% going to be presented on the lake bed. So I've managed to find 2 of them on not a million miles apart, but one that's big enough to get 2 rods on, and then one slightly off it a little bit further to my right. It's yeah, it's proper windy out there. I've got a bit of cover from the trees, but it's not too far out at all, so casting shouldn't be a problem with putting this out to the spot. So now that I've found it, I've wrapped up, I know exactly the wraps that I need to get to those spots. So now it's a case of just getting the rod sorted, getting them out, and I'll talk you through what my sort of mix and my sort of spod mix is going to be for this session. So let's get the rod sorted. Enough of what I'm doing, let's actually put it into practice, and yeah, we will be fishing. The last hour or so, believe it or not, looking at the weather now, I have been bivvy bound because it's just been lashing it down. I've even had to do the zip up on the front of the bivvy because it was lashing in through the door. But yeah, believe it or not now, beautiful blue sky. But I slang out 3 singles earlier onto the spots that I found after that sort of bit of extensive leading at the start of my session, and we've got one in the net. So I've not put any bait out yet because I was waiting for the rain to pass so I could give you a little talk about what I'm going to be using bait wise. But it doesn't seem that they need any bait to get a bite. So yeah, well happy with that. Off the mark, happy days. Hadn't actually seen anything, to be quite honest, since I've been here. Spent the last few hours prior to the rain moving in watching the water, just getting a gauge for what's going on out there really. Didn't want to go committing to a couple of spots if they started showing sort of elsewhere within the swim, so I kind of held off baiting for a little while. But yeah, it seems to have paid off because 3 singles out to the spots that I found, and one of the rods has gone rattling off. Happy days. So he's only a little one, pretty little mirror. We'll get the mat sorted, we'll get him up, we'll have a little look. Well, there we go then, the fish that's got me off the mark here at Tar Farm Lake 6. It was never going to be about monsters on this session, it was always going to be about getting some birthday bites, and that's exactly what's happened. Just sort of, what, 4 or 5 hours into the session, this pretty little one has snaffled my Ronnie rig, fished as a single out to the clear areas that I found a little bit earlier on. So I've been thinking about getting some bait out. Now I know that the spots can produce with just a single, there's absolutely no reason why they won't get their heads down when there's half a dozen spoms down there as well. But yeah, look at him, really little pretty one, and that is exactly why I wanted to come to Tar Farm. just to get myself a few bites, and that's exactly what I hope to do. So hopefully this is the first of many, but I'll just show you the other side anyway. Real nice, pretty little scaly one. Well happy with that. To get myself off the mark, early days, and the bite couldn't have come sooner, just as the rain stopped. So yeah, I'll have that all day long. So get some pictures very quickly, slipping back, get that rod straight back out, thinking about stick some spoms out. Right, so this weather really needs to make its mind up with what it's doing. 1 minute it's absolutely beautiful like it is now, next minute it's absolutely lashing it down. So I can just see another black cloud in the horizon, which is no doubt making its way overhead. So I'm going to keep this really quick, but I've been meaning to get a spod mix knocked up and made sort of for the last sort of couple of hours, but the rain and whatever else has just basically put a hold on that. But where we've got a bit of blue sky, I'm going to quickly show you what I'm going to stick in my mix. So firstly, in this one I have got basically a mix of Hinders pellets, so the pellet combo. There's some seafood pellet in there as well, nut 365 pellet, basically a load of different pellets in there, different attractions, different breakdowns, and I just love using pellet wherever I go, whether it's in the baiting spoon or like a baiting situation like this. Pellets will always form sort of like the base of my mix, so I'm just going to knock up enough at a time really, just to sort of keep me going. I'm not going to go and make a massive mix. I'm just going to keep enough in there that will allow me to keep topping up after every fish if I'm lucky to get a few more bites. So just going to take sort of 2 or 3 big double hand scoops and pop them into my bucket. So they are all different shapes and sizes, and like I say, they will break down absolutely beautifully when out on that lake bed, create a bit of a carpet mix really. Going to use the last of my seafood oil. Yeah, literally next to nothing left of that, but that will just give off a nice little slick as well. Last of that in the mix. The oil is good as well for sort of pulling fish down onto the spot, and not only that, it's a good giveaway as well when they are getting their heads down on your bait, because obviously the slick of the oil rise to the surface and create a bit of a flat spot, and it's a good indication when there might be 1 or 2 fish down there feeding. Next up, I'm going to use some boilie as well, so I'm using spinner rigs. Obviously got 3 different pop-ups on there. In here I've got the nut 365 and the seafood in both 15mm and 12mm, so I'm going to give sort of like 1 large double hand scoop of that, and that will have a mixture of basically 12mm and 15mm in there of both flavours. And then what I'm going to do is I'll find my bait crusher, and I'll also do a few rounds of the crusher as well, just to sort of bolster out the mix with a bit of boilie crumb and stuff like that. So just create, like I say, a bit of a carpet down there, leaking loads of attraction. And to finish it all off, I am going to use some of the seafood glug. Now I absolutely love this stuff, it absolutely honks, and yeah, sort of like the perfect binder really to any sort of mix. So if you're looking to create something that's sort of long lasting, this is a bit of a heavier liquid. This will get down to the bottom and it will soak all into that crumb, cover all those pellets and boilies. Then yeah, this is well worth a look. I love it. Like I say, it absolutely stinks and it complements everything else what's in the mix. So I'm going to give that a good dose of that, not so that it's swimming in it, but just enough that it's becoming sort of tacky and soaking into the boilies and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll give that a little glug, like I say, not to overdo it. So all that's left to do is do a few rounds on the crusher on them boilies, get them in there, let that soak for 10 minutes while I sort out the spom on the rod, and that is good to go. I'm just about to have something to eat. I thought I'm not actually eating all day today. Just put the Ridge Monkey on. Just gonna have some sausage sandwiches for tea. And I've been rudely disturbed by another fish. Left-hander this time. I literally just finished spomming I don't know, 10-15 minutes ago. Put 4 spoms over every rod, and yeah, they are on it straight away. Really nice little scaly mirror in the net. So we will get the mat sorted, we'll have a little look. Right, well, check this one out. If you are looking for a few bites and to catch some absolute belters like this, then don't turn your nose up at Tar Farm. Just look at it, look at the scales on it, absolutely immaculate. Proper stunning. And you don't have to fish out very far at all. You don't have to use masses of bait, just enough to buy you a bite at a time. That's all I've done. As I said, on the first fish, I was originally fishing singles. I've just introduced 3 or 4 spoms over every rod, pellet and boilie. 15 minutes later, and I've got this absolute stunning fish on the mat. But yeah, look at the scales on him. Mega spotless, absolutely spotless. So then that is the rods sorted before dark. So all 3 rods gone back out, fresh hook baits, and 3-4 spoms over the top of each rod, just to see me through sort of early hours of darkness, really, see how it goes. The coots were actually mullering my right hand rod earlier, so I very much doubt there was anything left down there at all. Yeah, it looks like there might be a potential rain shower on the horizon. There's a rather grey cloud working its way in my direction, but with the wind just sort of trickling into my face, is bringing some music from, I don't know, maybe a local sailing club or a festival somewhere locally. But yeah, there's some proper old school tunes going on, which is nice to listen to whilst I just chill out. I've had some dinner, and yeah, everything's sweet, everything's sorted. Just gonna have to wait and see now, see what happens through the hours of darkness. So I'll leave it there. Hopefully I'll be flicking the camera on through the night and bringing you 1 or 2 more, because last time I was here in April, I was having a fish every 3 hours, and it absolutely ruined me the next day. I was knackered. So yeah, wondering if there's going to be a bit more of the same tonight. It would be nice to finish the very long weekend with a few more bites to go with the couple of scaly ones that I've already caught so far. So yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But for now, yep, I'm gonna chill out, taking the last sort of hour and a half of the evening, get my head down, and see what the night has in store. Yeah, just gone 6 AM, and really quiet night. Not a single beep, which I'm quite surprised about, in all honesty. The wind was still pumping in here last night. The rods went out absolutely bang on. Baiting up went well. Yeah, I'm quite surprised really to not hear those alarms sing, just because yeah, going on last session, I bites all through the night, like I say, every few hours really. So I am quite surprised that I didn't even have a single bite on either rod. So yeah, don't quite know what's gone on there, in all honesty. But yeah, you probably hear the kettle on in the background, just waiting to have my first coffee of the morning. Probably not going to lie, after 3 nights on the bank, I probably needed a little bit of a decent night's sleep like last night. So I'm not complaining too much, although I would have taken a fish or 2 through the hours of darkness, most definitely. So I got till 6 PM today to work at it, to try and get myself another bite or 2. So that's exactly what I've done, and as I'm speaking now, something has just rolled beyond my area. So oh, there we go, and one is literally just boshed out right on top of me. So they are back in the zone, they are back in front of me. So yeah, fingers crossed we can make it happen today. Stick 1 or 2 more scaly ones on the mat before we got to disappear and wrap it up for my birthday weekend. So let's crank this kettle up and get a coffee down my neck, think about sticking a little bit of bait out, and yeah, just try and keep the cog turning and stick a few more on the mat before home time. Well, I'm hoping the wind isn't causing too much disturbance, but I'm going to record a bit of an outro and give you a bit of an update as to what's been happening this morning / this afternoon. So it's nearly 2 o'clock. I lost one at around 10 AM. Hooked it, I saw it come to the surface, had a bit of weed around it, and unfortunately the hook just pulled. So yeah, absolutely gutted about that, as that would have been a nice start to the morning. Since then I've redone all the free rods, freshened up the hook baits, been trickling out bait on top of the spots sort of every hour, 2 or 3 spoms, just to keep a bit of interest going through the water and trying to make that bait work for me and entice another bite. But at the moment nothing has happened. The angler opposite me has departed, obviously when his ticket ran out this morning, and since then they've been showing a bit beyond me. So what I've tried to do is just whack one of the rigs over there with my 10 footers and with this strong headwind that is blowing into my face. So yeah, I've put it out there as far as I can and hope that it's landed in a relatively clean area. So yeah, fingers crossed on that one, but it's worth a try. Got nothing to lose. Now I don't know if you can see behind me, bits and pieces everywhere, having a really slow pack down. 4 days on the bank, my stuff is a bit sort of all over the place, as you can imagine. So having a bit of a slowdown, soaking up a bit of the sun because we've had sporadic rain showers all morning as well. So yeah, just getting out and keeping myself active rather than hidden away what was the bivvy, away from the wind and rain. So I think I'm going to be safe, fingers crossed, for the rest of the afternoon now that the bivvy's packed away and nothing else is going to get drenched. So I'm going to wrap it up here, but fingers crossed there's one more fish to show you before I disappear a little bit later on. I'll have the camera back out, obviously, if so. So if you've enjoyed watching this video, leave me a comment below, give me a thumbs up, and yeah, if you can, hit that subscribe button. It's all more than appreciated when you come and interact over on my channel. And obviously, as always, feel free to come and get in touch in any of my social media. Always good to hear from you guys. I think next time I come down this way, I'll venture over to one of the other Tar Farm lakes on the Go Catch app, and yeah, set myself another little challenge of trying to catch one out of the other lakes that's on this complex. So I will definitely be checking them out. But yeah, if you want to fish any of the Tar Farm lakes yourself, then yeah, just have a look on the Go Catch app, and you can book a swim on any given day and get yourself down here and catch a few as well. So I'm going to wrap it up there, get the rest of this lot tidied up, and hope that one of those 3 alarms sing for me before I have to jump in the motor and disappear. So thank you for watching as always, and I'll catch up with you next time I am out on the bank.